To the outside world, the house on a quiet street in Slaughter, Louisiana, seemed perfectly normal. It was well kept, peaceful, and home to a respected family. But inside, a tragedy was unfolding that would eventually shock the entire nation. This is the story of Lacey Fletcher. Lacey was once a bright young woman who loved volleyball and had friends. But as she grew older, she began to face challenges with social anxiety and was later diagnosed with a form of autism. Her parents, Clay and Sheila Fletcher, were prominent figures in their community. They claimed they wanted to protect her, but over time that protection morphed into extreme isolation. Lacey slowly withdrew from the world, eventually confining herself entirely to the living room of her parents' home. In January 2022, emergency services received a call from the Fletcher residence. When first responders entered the home, they made a devastating discovery. They found Lacey lifeless on the family couch. But this wasn't a sudden passing. The evidence at the scene suggested something far more disturbing: that Lacey had been sitting in that exact spot, immobile, for years. Investigators would later uncover the horrifying extent of her condition. Due to extreme immobility, Lacey had effectively become fused to the leather couch she sat on. The medical examiner's report painted a grim picture of chronic neglect. Despite living with her parents, who were her supposed caregivers, she had suffered from severe malnutrition, dehydration, and multiple untreated infections. At the time of her death, she weighed less than 100 pounds. It was tragically clear that the care she desperately needed had not been provided for a very, very long time. The question everyone asked was, how? How could two parents, her own mother and father, watch television in the same room every night while their daughter suffered silently right beside them? The parents claimed Lacey was of sound mind and refused to move, and that they were simply respecting her wishes. Prosecutors, however, argued that this wasn't about autonomy, it was a crime of gross indifference and severe neglect. They argued that, as her caregivers, the Fletchers had a duty to provide care, which they failed to do. In 2024, a measure of justice was served. Clay and Sheila Fletcher were sentenced to 40 years in prison for manslaughter. The case of Lacey Fletcher serves as a heartbreaking and crucial reminder of the importance of checking on our vulnerable loved ones and neighbors. The most terrible neglect can happen behind closed doors, even in the most seemingly perfect homes. Rest in peace, Lacey. Thank you for watching.